If you clicked on this video, it's because you are an ambitious individual who wants more than the traditional cookie-cutter 9-to-5 path society has told you should follow. You've been told to spend all of your life working yourself to the bone to make someone else richer, instead of becoming rich yourself so you can become financially free and provide an incredible quality of life, not only for yourself selfishly, but also for the people that you love. My goal with this video is to give you a step-by-step game plan that will allow you to escape the rat race as quickly as possible. But since it's probably the first time you and I meet, why should you listen to me? My name is Fred, and I went from struggling financially over 5 years ago to building a profitable consulting business that makes me upwards of $1,000 per day, most of it being profit in my early 20s. So if you watch this video until the end and you share it with a friend to thank you, when we get to 100,000 subs, I will be giving away $10,000. The first step is to get seriously pissed. One thing I've learned the hard way in life is that people typically only do the things they need to do to succeed when they just cannot tolerate their current situation anymore. The reason why most people do not make the decision that could change their lives, they don't decide to go ahead and to move forward, to commit to building a business, even though they say it's been months, even years since they've been wanting to do it, it's usually for one reason. People retreat to their comfort zones. But as you probably already know, nothing great will ever happen inside of your comfort zone. And I know this for a fact because over 5 years ago, I was living inside of my comfort zone. I was so anxious because of traumatic events I had to go through in my life that I couldn't even leave the house to go for a walk in the neighborhood for months. I couldn't even pick up the phone to call my hairdresser to book an appointment. I know it sounds pretty pathetic, but I'm being real, honest and vulnerable with you here. But I knew that as long as I stayed as I was, then I would never become successful. Unless I found a way to get rid of my fear, then I would stay this weird, shy, anxious kid who wanted success so damn badly, just like a lot of people, but who wasn't actually doing anything to obtain it. So really get this through your head. You need to start getting pissed off right now at your current situation, because people will only move forward, do the things they need to do to succeed, when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. So if I take myself as an example, I've always wanted to become extremely successful and wealthy, and I never hid it from anyone. I was always honest about it with my family, because from the start I knew I didn't want to become an employee and just take orders from a boss and make somebody else richer off of my hard work. I wanted to become wealthy so I could enjoy my life, be able to purchase anything without having to sweat over the price tag, not even have to think about it in fact. I wanted to be able to not work a regular job so I could just travel whenever I want, pick my own hours, decide what I want to do and when I want to do it. Because with money comes freedom. And it's not always the case, because I knew as a kid I could have become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, and then maybe at some point in my 40s I could have been making 6 figures a year, so a very comfortable salary, which would have given me a very decent quality of life. But at the same time, it wouldn't have given me the freedom I wanted, because my goal from the start was to become successful and wealthy in my early 20s and to do it my own way, to be a business owner, not to work for someone else or for a corporation. Because you have to realize that for plenty of these big executives or CEOs of big companies, they're actually employees, and so they spend 80 hours per week working in their jobs. They barely have any free time to spend with their family or to just do their hobbies, and so their quality of life it's not that great, even though they make more money than most people in the world. But growing up in the lower middle class, life was very difficult. My mother was a nursing assistant and my father a nurse. They were both doing high stress, high pressure jobs, and my mother was doing a dangerous night job because she was dealing with very violent patients, criminals, folks that got into knife fights with gangs. So not exactly the type of people you'd love to be around, you know? And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that my parents would complain about the price of food every single day over dinner. So I really felt like we were living half of a life, because sometimes, you know, I happened to see a sports car on the highway. It happened very infrequently, maybe a few times a year at best, but when it did happen, I would be like, oh my god, who's driving that car? How can they afford to spend $300,000 on a goddamn car? Because that's more than my parents' house. And I could only imagine how different their mindset must have been from everyday people. What did they know that everybody else didn't? And how could I become successful too? How could I afford to drop $200,000 on a car or even more? And at school, there were some wealthy kids. So while I was forced to take the crowded bus and to commute for hours every day just to go to school, I didn't even have a phone at the time. So at some point, if I were to run into an issue, I couldn't even text or call my parents. But these wealthy kids, they would be dropped off to school in a brand new Porsche or a brand new Mercedes car, and every year they would get the latest iPhone. And the worst part was during the summer break. I would see them on Snapchat posting stories of their beautiful vacations. They were having fun, riding in sports cars in brand new Porsches, while we were stuck in our tiny room all summer because we couldn't really afford to do anything. And that made me pissed. I mean, I understood from the start that some people had more money and they were living a much higher quality of life. That was okay. I wasn't the jealous type. I was envious to some degree, yes of course, but I felt no hate against these people, because I knew for a fact if it was possible to live this kind of life, then I too could. I just had to figure out how to achieve it on my own. And so in school later on, I had to do many unpaid internships, and those really gave me a taste of what a traditional 9-to-5 life would be like, and I hated it every single time. Even the employees who worked in these jobs, they were all depressed and they all wanted to quit to go make a living from their passion, but they couldn't afford to do it because they were struggling financially. And every day I'd see them walk into the office or the shop with that dreaded look on their faces after commuting for 1 to 2 hours just to be able to go to their work. So they would spend 10 hours per day in total working jobs that they hated just to make a few $1,000s per month for the rest of their lives. So if right now you have to get up early or late depending on your schedule to go to school or to go to a job that you hate, start getting pissed. Because the sad truth is, even though plenty of people do not like their jobs and they dream of starting a business, of making a living doing what they love, 99% of people will never even take action. Or if they do, it will be very short-lived and they will quit at the slightest difficulty. You have to remember this. Change only happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. If you do nothing, it's because yeah, you might be in pain, but it's not enough to make you take action. That's the truth. Now to help you, I've recorded a video in which I explain everything I did step by step to build a profitable consulting business that makes me upwards of $1,000 per day. And I'm also going to reveal the 3-step process you can use today to start getting your first customers and making your first thousands of dollars. I will leave the link in the description below, or you can also directly apply to book a call with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you to build your business. Now the step after that is to define a clear goal. So really take the time to ask yourself, what's your goal? How much money do you want to make and why do you want to make X amount of money? For example, if you say you want to make $10,000 per month, okay, great, amazing, but what would your life look like if you were in fact making $10,000 per month? The reason why I'm asking you this is because plenty of people just don't know. They want to make 10k per month because it sounds like a fancy number, because it could allow them to be financially free. But what does financial freedom actually look like for you? Because if you don't have a clear goal, you will have no aim in life. It's like having a GPS, but then you just have no destination in mind. So of course you never get what you want. And the truth is, most people have wishes, not actual goals. For example, everybody wants to make more money. If you were to go in the street and ask people, would you like to make more money? 9 times out of 10, people would say yes. But most people do not have clear financial goals. A clear goal would be something like, I want to get to $10,000 per month consistently in the next 12 months. That is a clear and specific goal because it can be measured and it has a clear deadline. By setting a deadline, it doesn't mean you will automatically reach that goal by the set deadline, but if you set a smaller goal and you give yourself more time to achieve it, you will work less hard, you'll be less committed, and so it will take longer or you might never even reach this objective in the first place. The step that comes after that is to build up an initial amount of capital to invest in your business. I make plenty of free content on this channel to help ambitious individuals to build a business regardless of their budget. But I'll be honest with you, there's plenty of people that are completely delusional. They want everything for free, no effort, no sacrifice, and they seriously believe they're going to get to $10,000 per month without ever making sacrifices, without ever spending a single cent. Do you realize that over 20 to 30 years ago, if you wanted to open up a business, you would need at least $100,000 because you had to open up a brick and mortar business, a gym, a restaurant, a hair salon, a shop, or to start providing services, but you would need to get employees, and all of that is very expensive. So 99% of people were not even able to start businesses 30 years ago. So it's not that long ago really. But nowadays, when I see people begin willing to take a risk, not even willing to spend a few $100s or a few $1,000s on their business so they can actually succeed, and they somehow expect they're going to be making tens of thousands of dollars just like that, these people are delusional. We have insane opportunities presented to us today. You can make a lot of money. Do you realize that some 20-year-olds become multi-millionaires every single year because they started an online business? And that's the goal I set for myself, to be the first millionaire in my family. But I know it's not just easy or going to happen like that with no work, no effort, no sacrifice. I invested thousands of dollars into my education to work with mentors, which is why the first step, if you're genuinely dirt broke, is to save up some money to at first get some initial startup capital to be able to invest in your business. You'll go so much faster if you do this, as opposed to being like all these people who just want everything for free and they're not willing to take any risks or make any sacrifices. Because these people, years down the line, they're still in the same position just because they weren't willing to roll up their sleeves and to do the hard fucking work. Now the next step that comes after that is to pick the right thing to sell. You can typically sell 2 different things: physical products or services and coaching. If you are a beginner, and by beginner I mean you haven't made $1 million yet with your business, do not start selling physical products. Every time I speak to somebody and they tell me they've tried dropshipping or TikTok shop or Amazon FBA or print on demand, they always failed and they always lost a lot of money in those things. Because even if somehow you were successful with a dropshipping business or print on demand or these kinds of physical product based businesses, your profit margins would be extremely thin, 5 to 20% on the high end. Meaning if you made $10,000 in profit, you would only keep $500 to $2,000, which is nothing. It's jack shit. So when you have a big budget to market your brand, it makes sense because you can have a high volume of sales and you can get a brand to be worth $100 million or even more. But as a beginner, it's not realistic at all. However, it's by selling services and consulting I've seen the most amount of beginners go from making $0 or a couple $1,000s per month to making tens of thousands of dollars per month, and most of it being profit. With my own consulting business, currently our profit margins are extremely high, and when you're just getting started, you work with no team team members, your profit margins can be as high as 98%. So plenty of dropshipping gurus can fool you and tell you they've made $100,000, but if you do the math, you learn they've only kept $10,000, which is nothing. But when we sell services or coaching, when we make $100,000, we keep at least $90,000. Now the step that comes after that is to lock in, remove all distractions, and just become relentlessly obsessed with growing your business. As they say, the beginning is always the most difficult part because you have no momentum. And if you try to figure everything out on your own, honestly, congrats to you if you want to do this, but it's most likely going to cost you years of your life and thousands of dollars invested in the wrong opportunities because you've got no one to guide you. I made that mistake when I was younger because obviously I couldn't really afford to work with mentors at the time, but it only wasted years of my life. I spent close to 10 years trying to find the secret, trying to make it work on my own. But it's not until I made the decision to commit to learning from people who were successful, who had the sort of results I wanted to have myself, that I started to make tens of thousands of dollars. Honestly, it would shock you how quickly it's possible to get results when you know exactly what you're doing. Because if we gave two people the challenge to go from $0 to $10,000 per month, and one of them was an employee, an everyday person, they've never tried to start a business before, and the other is a millionaire, do you really think it would take the millionaire 3 years to go from 0 to 10k per month? Of course not. But the person who's never started a business before, they will most likely never achieve it even in 10 years because they have no clue what to do, they don't have the experience or the knowledge. The only thing standing between you and making $10,000 per month, being financially free, it's the decision to commit and to get started. So if you are part of that minority of ambitious individuals, you're ready to start building your business so you can become financially free, I invite you to check out the resources in the description below, or you can directly apply to book a call with me or my team, and we'll see if we can help you to start your business. And with that said, I'll be waiting for you on the other side.